Hi everyone, and welcome to another video of Terraform. My name is Chia from DevOps Easy Learning, and today we'll be going through Terraform object variable, right? Why Terraform object variable? Terraform object variable is basically used for a complex data structure, right? What did I mean? Let me click on this little icon here, and we'll kind of have some examples here that we'll be using. And here, I will also make sure that I put a link of this GitHub repository in the description below, so that if you want to kind of check out the same code and trying to do exactly what I'm doing here, you are more than welcome to do so. Now, I don't like to kind of check out my code through, like to kind of look through the code here through GitHub. What I'm going to do here is that I'm going to clone this repository, and I have the repository already local. I will just go ahead here, especially I'll be using this example 001. That means I will grab this link here and hook over here to my terminal here. Make sure that I don't have anything. Let me close this thing here. I'm going to move to the root of this repository, first of all. And I'm going to go to code here. And I am here at the root of this repository. I am going to cd in this particular location where I have what we're seeing on the browser, and I will type code here to kind of open my VS Code where I am right now. Now, here, a map of object. I have one variable here, and I have the default value here. If you click here, basically, as you can see here, I've defined a block here where we have our required version and also the required provider that we want. And we want to deploy this in AWS, right? As you guys can see here, we say that map is used, an object variable is used for complex data structure, which means within this object variable, I want to have some variable which are string. I can have string, I can have tuple, I can have lists, I can have numbers, I can have booleans, and I can also have map, right? That's why we say this is a complex data structure, which means we can kind of define any type of variable that we want here in object variable. This is really, really useful. As you guys can see here, the first one here, it is the AMI. The default value here, as you guys can see, it is what? It is a string. It is a string. This one also, these ones are string. This one, it is what? A list. So you guys can see here, a list. If you use map, and you want to define a list, a variable type map, and you want to define a list within the map, that is not going to work, right? That is not going to work. Terraform will not allow you. And if you want to do that, you need to use a complex data structure, which is object variable. Here also, we also define another one here called a string. This can also you can change this one and put like a number variable, because we know that 10, it is a number, right? And in here, we have another variable here, which is a map. As you can see here, the map of string. And here, what is the default? This is the default here. And how can we refer that here? If you also type here, you can see when we say complex data structure, I have one example here in the README file here, where we can kind of define a variable here, and we'll call this one an object variable, right? As you can see, all this here for EKS config, it is what? String. A VPC, we can see here that we have a list of string, a worker list of string. All this one are what? Are just string. And we can go ahead here and kind of punch all our default value, right? This is another example here where it's an object, and we define all variable type that we want. And in here, we can kind of punch a default value, right? As you can see, some can be empty. Let's say you just put it and a user doesn't define anything, we can put that empty. And if you want to know how we can kind of put something empty like this using a complex object like like using a complex variable as object, please let me know in the comment below, and I will go ahead and kind of shoot another video how this can be done. But in this example, we will not have this. We will not have this. We cannot kind of put something that is going to be empty, right? That means in that case, we'll be using something like a try function. When we try something, we don't find it, we set it as empty, right? But that is not the purpose of this video. That is out of the scope of this particular video, right? As you guys can see here, the context here, we can go ahead and kind of define the actual values. All these were string, all this here were a list of string. When we say a list of string, that means in here, as you guys can see, this is a string, this is a string, and that's why we call that a list of string. And here we say the map of string, and that is why we define all this here as a map, right? And the list, we have a lot of examples that I'm not going to go through all this. Now, let us see our case here. This one here is a very simple object variable, right? Very simple object variable here. And here we basically define everything. This was a map, as you guys can see, a map of string, the key, and the value, the key and the value. How are we going to use that in resource declaration? Here we're going to create an EC2 instance here, right? The AMI, how am I going to get the AMI in this object variable? The way that I'm going to get that is by using var.instanceConfig. As you guys can see, the var.the instance config. In this instance config, we will have default here. What am I going to get here? I'm going to get the AMI. As you guys can see, we say .ami, which means it's going to grab this value and it will punch it here. And also the instance type is the same, var.instance_configs. And here we have the instance type, this one, which means it's going to kind of grab the instance type, which is T2 micro, and it will put it here and so on. And here also we'll have a tag, right? We'll have a tag. Here we say var.tag. What happens here is that this is going to call this instance called VM-1, right? And let's say this is a module. If this is a module, this basically means we basically hard code the instance name. And if the user trigger this module, he will not be able to change this instance name, right? Also, let me know in the comment below if you want me to kind of shoot another video where I will go ahead and use a custom tag here. I mean, I will use merge, a format with merge tag to go ahead here and set the instance name the way that a user can go ahead and choose it and basically put whatever they want, right? And at that time, it will be a little bit complicated. Let me know in the comment below if you want to know how you can change this, right? And put a custom name that you want instead of just hard coding a name here in your code. Let us go ahead and kind of trigger this and see if we'll go ahead and deploy this resource using an object variable, which is just a complex data structure. Now, I am here and I will go ahead here and type Terraform init. It will go ahead and initialize, download the required provider that we'll put in the code, and also go ahead here and type Terraform apply. While it's doing that, I will explain something. We'll go ahead here and say yes. And here, if I go back into my code, you guys will see here that I have a terraform.tf var. If you basically open the main.tf, open to the site, you guys will see that we basically define something here called default value, right? And those are the default value as the name imply here, which means you can go ahead and change. You can change. If you change any value here, it will go ahead and just override whatever you put in here, right? Because this is the Terraform.tf vars. And what happens is that we just copy everything and we set it in here using the name, the instance config. And that's how, if you're using the complex data structure as object, this is how you define that in the TF vars file. And anything that you change here will go ahead and override whatever is in here. Terraform will not use anything here. And when you even want to do this, you can create a variable file where you put this complex data structure in the variable file instead of putting it here in your main.tf. If we check here, you guys can see that everything was deployed successfully. And if you also hook over to AWS console, you will see that we have one EC2 instance running with a name called VM1, which is basically the tag that was hard-coded. And like I said, a user might want to change this and put something else. If we are doing this in terms of module, that won't work, right? In terms of module, you need to figure out a way that you can kind of allow a user to change this tag and put whatever you want. And that is where we're going to use something called a merge tag. We merge some tag and we customize that. Let me know in the comment below if you want to know how to do that. And I hope this video was really informative. And that's it. And I'll see all of you guys next time. Bye-bye.